Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen here with Alex King and Dan Mangena. Today is Thursday, October the 1st, 2020. It's 4 p.m. New York time, and wherever you are in the world, thanks for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And I'm happy because we got the team back. I mean, like for the first time in I don't know how many weeks, Dan's here, Alex is here, I'm here. Like the whole Thursday team is back.
We're here.
Yeah, good stuff. And nobody's pounding in the background to make it even better.
Yeah.
Don't jinx it, Walt. Don't jinx it.
There might be some pounding in a few minutes because they're supposed to be moving furniture in my house.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
because I spoke too soon.
The bang.
Yeah. We just got a new dresser and we got to figure out how to get it up the stairs. I told them, let the delivery drivers do it, but nobody listens to me.
Okay. Well, maybe then this is actually going to work out well because I had been thinking about the show that Dan and I did a couple weeks ago. We did a show in preparation for getting on to local cable access, sort of an introduction show. Mm-hmm. And I asked Dan to describe how he explains basic LOA to people when he's talking to people who haven't really learned much about it or heard much about it. And he laid out a really nice description about how at the very core of every single thing that happens in our lives, there is a common denominator. And that basically became the format for the show, that common denominator. The common denominator, of course, is us. We are our own common denominator. So I kind of wanted to just expand on that topic because, I mean, last week we kind of went off on a tangent, and it was a fun tangent. We were talking about Jedi mind tricks. that was good. Yeah, it was a tangent. But
I saw your post about Jedi mind tricks.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun show. But I just want to get back to following up on that initial foundation we laid. And Daniel, I'm going to go to you first, obviously, because you were the one who was really laying out those ideas beautifully. But what's the next thing that you do? Okay, you've laid out for people what the foundation is. We are the common denominator in everything that happens in our lives. So what's the second thing you tell people once they get that part?
Then we see how far they're prepared to go down the rabbit hole with that.
Yeah, which is going to vary, obviously.
Because the deeper you go down the rabbit hole, the more creative power you get access to, but the more responsibility you have for what you manifest.
And what makes it the rabbit hole, do you think? What makes it rabbit hole-ish?
Because you can go really deep into consciousness and the quantum realm and going into everything being projections and projections and hologram theory. And it just depends how deep you want to go. I love living. I love to just keep dropping. For me, I love to just keep dropping down the rabbit hole. But that's when the existential crises. Yeah, that's when they start to come in. And I've seen that a couple of times with people. I've had a couple myself. Because then you get to a point where it's like, none of it's real. It's all just a massive virtual reality simulation.
It's a bit of a shock, yeah, when you finally realize that. That's a shock.
Yeah. Have you seen the film Inception, Walt?
Inception? No, I don't recognize that.
What?
Sorry. What? Well, you know me. I've seen about 1/20th of all the films that are out there since 1990. I mean, just it's like
I would check out Inception though. It's the Nolan brothers.
Okay.
It's a mind fudge.
It's a mind fudge.
Okay.
Leonardo DiCaprio is the lead actor.
Yep.
Right.
So essentially, what they explore in that film is what would happen in a world where you could hack people's brains, basically.
Hack their brains?
Yeah, so basically you project yourself into people's unconscious mind, and they use it to like hack, to take ideas. So like corporate espionage takes a whole new realm. But then there are other concepts that it invites you to explore as well, such as, well, you can consciously choose to lucid dream at any point because you have a conscious interaction with your unconscious mind. So there was a scene, for example, where there are people who are hooked up to the dream machines. And what actually happens is that they're living in their dreams. So the guy goes, So they're always in there. He goes, yeah, they go there to wake up. Their dream is the physical world. Some really interesting ideas. Anyway, my point behind it was that in people's minds, all of the things that you see are projections of their consciousness. So all of the people are projections of their consciousness. All of the buildings are projections of their consciousness. And there was a point where a character in the movie who spent too much time trapped in too deep a level of consciousness and was brought back out to the real world wasn't convinced that it's real. She thought that she was still in the dream. And so she kept, because one of the ways that you come out of the dream is to die in the dream world, then you wake up consciously. But the thing is that she thought she was in the dream world. So she kept trying to wake up from her real life, believing she was in the dream world. And that's something that could potentially happen if you start to go too deep into it, because essentially, depending on the way you look at reality, we are living in a dream world. It's another projection within another projection. It's another layer within another layer. But we don't really know, because you can't know without going on. And those that believe in the other side or lives between lives, that's effectively what they're saying. Bodies are things that we drop and pick up. Death isn't something to fear. It's just part of the journey. But there are potential edges and implications because we don't know the truth of that. You know, maybe
sounds a lot like it's like it was almost a sequel to an old 80s film called Dreamscape and a prequel to the Matrix films. It sounds like it was like
I was going to say it's very Matrix-esque.
It's very Matrix-esque. Yeah. But the Nolan brothers are great. I like what the Nolan brothers do. They come up with cool concepts. Sometimes there are gaps in the narrative, but they do it with such flair that you let them get away with it.
That's a good filmmaker.
I see what you didn't do there, but I'm with you, buddy.
Yeah.
I see what you didn't do there.
I'll let you get away with that one.
Yeah. Yeah. But next time, give me a complete story arc, okay? Right. I'm looking forward to seeing the new one with Denzel Washington's son. That looks like it's an interesting one. It's about time.
Which one is that?
Something to do with time travel or something like that.
Has it come out already?
Yeah, it starts with a T, I think.
It's not coming to mind.
Yeah.
Wow, we've stumped Alex.
Yeah. Well, it's a movie. I'm TV.
Well, that's true. You're more TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. So, Inception, okay.
It's called Tenet.
Yes.
Tenet, it's called.
It looks a little too intense for myself, but
I'm actually really excited for it.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm very excited for it.
All right, I'm going to have to look into these films just to see what they're all about. No promises. I'm going to like them. I mean, you know my track record. That's just
bro. I'm so over you. I can't even like.
I love when you tagged Walt in those shows in the group, and he's like, "I'll be giving this one to my wife, and my wife will have this one." Thanks for trying to pull me in, but I'll be giving this one to my wife also.
Give me one.
It was like a polite, yeah, bro.
Exactly.
It's a no from me.
What can I say? I like what I like. I don't like what I don't like.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't like if you don't try it.
Well, I usually know after I try it.
Well, yeah, but you gotta try it first.
Crazy. But yeah, that's the rabbit hole. Especially when I'm talking with people, especially people that have done like a lot of plant medicine or a lot of psychedelics or whatever, because there's a detachment that comes for some to reality, and there are implications, I think, in some instances. So we see how far we're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting description of where you go next, because it was not the place I thought you were going to describe when I asked you, what do you do after you lay down the fact that we're the common denominator? I thought you were going to go into, some sort of a discussion about, okay, well, here's what people run into the most. No, you didn't go there at all. It's like, how far down the rabbit hole can we go?
Yeah, because that's going to dictate, that's going to lay the playing field, like the framework out for where we're going to go to next, because we know what level of personal responsibility we're taking and direct input we're going to have on the result. Like, how much do we need permission slip, and how much are we just going to just take it by the horns and say, okay, let's go and create. Mm-hmm. So if we go to reality transurfing, for example, where they invite you to go all the way down the rabbit hole, life is a dream, You are the actor, the director, the film studio host, the cameraman, and all of the other actors in the movie. Choose what you want, run the slide and go for it.
Damn.
I guess my experience talking to people who are relatively new to it, if I were to describe it in terms of what we're talking about here, is that even if I lay out an idea the way you did, and I love the way you did it, by the way, when you talked about that common denominator. So if I were to lay it out that way to them, I would get responses that would essentially tell me, yeah, I buy into that, but I don't really buy into it. I have reservations about it.
Which again, what comes down to how far down the rabbit hole are they ready to go? And it's one of the reasons why I go directly, why the common denominator theory is, because ultimately, step one of Beyond Intention ultimately is getting people to accept I'm the author of creator of everything in my life. Everything that's shown up, I'm responsible for. Everything that is going to show up, I am responsible for. That's ultimately level 7 of step 1 is I own everything. The stuff I don't like, the stuff that I can't see, the stuff that happened in Syria, I own it all as a projection of what's happening inside of me in some variation of hologram theory.
Which is big. I mean, that's a big, giant step right there.
Exactly, which is why that's level 7. So
yeah.
we progress through. But the mathematical simplicity of I am the common denominator, you can't fault from that place the logic of the most logical place for me to start in creating change in my life is creating change with me. Because then the substance of everything must change. Me as a riding tide lifts all boats. That is the place to start. From there, we can have a conversation. If someone's not prepared to accept that, then I don't have any more time for them.
Ooh. Okay.
And I've actually of late been a lot more militant with that. I'm a moderator in a couple. Yeah, I'm like really militant. I'm a moderator. Oh, you would love this one. I had someone tried to get at me for veganism the other day. We'll talk about it. Yeah, it was so
Here
funny.
we go.
So someone put a post.
You brought it on yourself.
Someone put a post in the group and said, you know, what are your dietary, like, what's your diet like? And I know they did it to like stir the pot.
Right.
So I just watched what everyone had to say. And then I saw the vegans coming out. Well, if we're really into consciousness and about like advanced, then we should all cease slaughtering animals and blah, 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 and went off on one. And people like the other vegans were like, yeah, let's do it. Well, not even vegans, the other Vegan terrorists. Or we can call them Venatics. The other Venatics. Is that what?
Vegetics?
That sounds a little bit too like vagina. I'm staying away from that one.
That's a whole different type of terrorist.
Venatics.
I'm glad I'm not actually recording this one as the sequel to the first one, because otherwise this would not work at all.
This one wouldn't work at all. But the Venatics, they kind of like, there were some people that like, yeah, I eat plant-based diet, and that was it. Respect to you, kudos. Not, what do you mean you are not vegan? And so, I didn't say whether I'm vegan or not. I didn't say anything about whether I'm vegan or not. I simply said, well, considering that importance levels is a big part of reality transurfing, and also one of the golden rule of reality transurfing is you live your life and you let other people live their life.
Facts. That should be a general rule.
I was just like, I'm not really sure why people are being like shamed for what they eat or don't eat.
For their choices, like.
So I just basically, I said, okay, I've got a simple question. The lead, the general of the Venatics, General Venatigator, I asked them, and I just said, so are we denying that all things have a level of consciousness, and are we attributing a higher level of importance to one expression of consciousness over another? Because one of the core principles of what we're learning about here is that nothing is more important than anything else. Everything is at the same level. In which case, if we're making a choice in regards to consciousness, then bit of hypocrisy here, like what's going on, like. And I said, plant lives matter. Anyway, so. Anyway,
definitely not a good follow-up show to the.
Said person Said person completely skipped over everything I was saying. Well, look at you. Have you ever heard about the nervous system? All of the suffering. And then one of the other, I'm a moderator of this group, by the way, so I can do what I want. One of the other moderators was just like, so if human beings don't have a nervous system, we're allowed to kill them without consideration.
Damn.
Or if someone doesn't feel pain, we're allowed to just kill them and eat them. Is that what we're saying? And then she's like, I have to leave. I can't believe that I'm dealing with such a low vibration of consciousness. So anyway, as soon as my question was completely ignored, I signed out. I'm like, we're not going to be able to have a reasonable conversation.
Right.
Because the funny thing is I respect veganism. I do. It's just not for me. Right. I don't respect people pushing their ideas on others. Mm-hmm. I don't respect animal cruelty. Mm-hmm. Personally, I think if you're vegan and you have a pet, you're one of the biggest hypocrites. Because that's animal slavery.
Yeah.
Right? Well, they've been domesticated. Okay, so human slaves that were around after 200 years, they've been domesticated. Let's go back to human slavery. They were domesticated after all. So it doesn't really compute for me. So I'm just like, I'm going to listen to my body. I have my DNA checked. I know what works for me. And I'm going to eat ethically. I'm going to aim to source everything locally and bless my food, which actually changes the composition of it anyway. Mm-hmm. Anyone's got a problem with that, you're welcome to that problem. I'm not going to ask you about your diet. You don't ask me about mine. But the second someone starts saying, well, it's been scientifically proven this and that.
Oh, no.
Also science that says that the keto diet is right and that the paleo diet is right and that the carnivore diet. There's science to back every single diet that you could say is being the best.
Right. It's just what's for you. That's all it is.
So from there, I just don't get involved. So I've been a lot more militant with it now. As soon as I ask a very reasonable question, not antagonizing, a very reasonable question, and you haven't got a response, or you don't want to have I'm like, all right, cool. And I don't even respond to I turn off notifications. Bye, Felicia.
Yeah.
And just like I said, Walt, don't say anything. They've started banging.
Oh, it has begun.
I won't say anything. What can I say?
Oh, no.
What I will say is this. I agree with you. I'm not quite sure where this fits into the whole concept of how far down the rabbit hole you want to go, but I certainly agree. I mean, for me, you know what the words are? And you actually said them in what you described there. Scientifically proven. When I hear the word scientifically proven, I'm done. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that is because science doesn't prove anything. And any good scientist will tell you that. Scientist finds evidence of things. Science never proves anything. It's for maths, not for sciences.
Right.
So the moment I hear somebody say scientifically proven, I know that they have no idea what science is about, and they're about to try to talk me into something I don't want to hear about. And so I'm done. So just a warning to anybody who might want to text me about something, who's a listener, just saying, you want to leave those words out, you're probably going to be better off. No,
yeah, don't tag me in any articles that say scientifically proven.
Yeah, I drop out then.
For real.
Like, okay, we have another fool. So, yes.
No. That's not the politically correct term. These are one of the special people.
Okay. Wow.
Wow. All right. These are one of the special people.
Okay, I don't want to be special all of a sudden.
Right? I felt attacked. I don't know. It's just me.
Well, let's see if we could go for somewhere in the middle, because we have on this side we have people who go off the deep end about stuff that really has very little to do with the topic, and on this side we have people who are trying to get into it a little bit more and are still having some challenge with, okay, am I really the common denominator of everything? I mean, how can I possibly be responsible for what goes on in Syria? I mean, I heard that part, Dan. I mean, that's ridiculous. I have nothing. I don't know anybody in Syria.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have that conversation with someone that wasn't ready to go deeper down the rabbit hole. So for someone that's just at level 1, then we just talk about, okay, so how can we change our communication so that we are actually having an uplifting impact on what we're doing? How can we deal with how we respond to people so that we can at least have some dominion over that aspect of it? How can we choose what people are in our life anyway? How can we choose where we are? We can't choose what happens somewhere, but we can make choices about where we are actually going to be physically. And that's when we start to progress from there. So then we start moving on to step 2 of beyond intention. But we don't move beyond past 1 until at least some level of responsibility has been taken for their life. Otherwise, we'd just be wasting our time. And then nobody got time for it.
Yeah, that's true. Because unless you're willing to at least try to take responsibility for some part, you can't have a conversation.
No.
Yeah, because you can't jump into the rabbit hole unless you acknowledge that there is one in the first place.
Yes.
Yes. Not only is that there is a rabbit hole, but it might be worth considering.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could say that there's a rabbit hole there, but I don't give a crap, and the conversation's over.
Like, that's the rabbit's problem, not mine.
Yeah, right. But we will presume that people who, this kind of all comes from the in development local access version of this program that we're hoping to get out there soon. Stuff is sort of slowly, like molasses, happening in the background for anyone who's looking for the update. And that's the most update I can give you, because I can't give you anything specific like, oh, we just had this next step. The next step hasn't happened yet. We're working on getting that next step to happen. So,
are you sure that we haven't had another money game thing and there's an email?
I can't rule that one out.
Back into your inbox.
My track record is very clear. I miss stuff. I just do, and I have for the longest time, and I'm the first one to acknowledge it. I am the common denominator of missing stuff that comes into my life. I'm willing to admit this.
Which sucks, because part of it is celebrating it. So you got to figure it out and then celebrate it. So
all the more reason, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's nice to have something to celebrate.
Yes, it definitely is.
It is.
Speaking of which, my birthday's coming up.
That's true.
Which means it's our, 2-year, 3-year anniversary?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
2-year anniversary. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
By the way, Alex, remember Carlos Balasquita?
Uh-huh.
He came onto the show.
Oh, it was a Linda
on a Friday
episode, right?
show with Linda and Rita. Yeah.
Yeah.
He came on
I saw she had posted something and he posted something back about, I have a story to tell you.
Yeah.
And then they were going back and forth trying to pick a date. So I was like, I got to see that episode.
Yeah. Yeah. That was last Friday. So definitely want to go play that one back.
Nice.
He had a really cool story, really good manifestation story. And by the way, Dan, talk about a guy who really bought into what you're talking about, taking responsibility. This is a guy who, when he left, he was on the show for about 2 months, and that was October to December 2018. When he left because he had previously been a manager at Amazon, but he had quit that to pursue his dream of being an actor in LA. He was in LA. And his career was starting to take off. He was getting auditions and so forth. He was getting really excited. So he left the show to pursue that. And the story is the whole thing collapsed.
What happened?
Everything just collapsed. The whole thing just disappeared. And talk about taking responsibility. He said, you know what? I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to take whatever the next steps are. And if I don't know what the next steps are, I'll just, I'll go home for a little bit, and then I'll go work a job. I'll work like a minimum wage job for a bit. And he took these steps. He ended up in Miami and then ultimately in New York. And the way he got to New York was he got contacted by somebody who was trying to create a new venture that involved Amazon, like selling stuff through Amazon. And they wanted somebody who had experience as an Amazon manager. And of course, Carlos was a former Amazon manager. He is now helping to manage this company that he helped to form that has grown to 25 employees during COVID.
Wow.
He's about to start a second company just like it.
Nice.
Wow.
I mean, it was this huge shift that happened. Now, he thought, and he's still, by the way, pursuing the acting. He hasn't given up on that part. Mm-hmm. But it's like his life took this detour. He went with the detour. He didn't fight it. Mm-hmm. He agreed that, yes, I brought this onto myself. And yes, I'm going to stay in that happy place. And yes, I'm just going to keep looking for all the different ways that things are working out well. And it worked out well.
Well, good for him.
I love that.
New York is the second best place you want to be besides LA for acting.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. New York's a great place to be for acting.
Oh, yeah. Mostly theater, though, but a lot of good stuff. And then Boston's the third.
Yep. Boston's another good place.
Sure. And acting, I think it goes Atlanta, then Boston.
I didn't associate Boston with acting.
Actually, yeah. like 5 or 6 years ago, they started shooting a lot of movies in Boston because it's cheaper here. I forget why. But yeah.
It's like Atlanta. Like,
Exactly.
They do tax breaks, like
Yep.
Vancouver as well. That's why they film, well, they have been.
Supernatural in Vancouver.
Suck it up, Dan. Suck it up.
We're going to be all right. We're not going to make
strong.
it, but we'll be all right.
They just need to hurry up and post those episodes.
It's October 8th is the first one.
Yeah, but then
October
I have to
8th.
wait a whole week for the one after that, and
Oh, I know.
yeah.
Well, you can catch
Anyway.
the in-betweens on TNT.
Yeah.
Right now they're doing the top, the top episodes from 15 or 14 all the way down.
Yeah.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
I become a little Walt-esque at the idea of that.
Oh my God. I'm turning into an icon? No.
Yeah, an icon of someone not watching a show.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
This is
It
not
was
something
like-
to aspire to.
yeah, it is. It's Walt level 100.
Yeah.
that should be the new thing.
Walt level 100. Hashtag.
Oh, I'm going to start doing that in your group. What do you think of this show? Walt level 80.
Yes, I love it.
The Walt scale.
Oh God.
Walt
What
level
have
1
I
is a
done?
must
What
watch.
have I done?
You see what you started.
Yeah. We started. So yeah,
All because
Well,
I had the
someone's
temerity to say, I like this, I don't like that. I mean, it's amazing what comes out of that.
yeah. When as soon as someone is ready to accept that they've created, then we can start talking about doing the creation of. But without the readiness to accept the creating, then we're just wasting everybody's times, and I don't have any time for that personally.
So how about the person like we were talking about before? They've accepted some of it. Some of it they're just having a hard time with.
Then we work with where we're at.
So let's do an example.
Okay,
Let's take
so-
the vegan. The vegan's willing to accept a whole bunch of stuff, but they aren't willing to accept that one.
No, ain't nobody
No.
got time for that.
He's not accepting vegans.
That's, applications are closed for fanatics.
Okay. This is a tough get, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's
no.
it's a Walt level 100 on that one. Because you have to be able to have a reasonable conversation with someone, and if you're not in a position to have a reasonable conversation, then we just leave it.
Well, that's not all vegans. It's the vegans that
No,
are trying
I'm talking
to
about
share
fanatics.
lifestyle.
I'm talking about
fanatics.
fanatics.
Yeah, you're right. I was gonna say the vegans that are trying to push their lifestyle on you. That's the
Oh,
one.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now I
Yeah.
see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's the same.
Not
It's
all
not,
of
by the
them.
way,
Who's just-
it's not just vegans though. It's the carnivores. Why are you eating plants? Just get some meat in your body, bro.
Like the cavemen used to do.
Yeah, it's like, you had bread? Huh, more fool you. Keto is the way. Like, anybody that's forcing anything, like, just go home, bro.
Facts.
Go home and eat what you want to eat.
My
I'm
thing.
going to go for the more milquetoast side, though. I mean, I'm going to look at the ones who are the vegans who aren't trying to shove their ideas down somebody else's throat, but
In
they
which case,
have,
their
like
diet
you
has
said.
got nothing to do with the conversation.
Mm.
In which case, this is the thing. When you're just doing you, then what you eat and all that, it's got nothing to do with the creative process.
Well,
Is that
I can kind of tie it in.
Okay.
I mean, I'm
Tie
not
away.
a vegan, so I'm kind of, I'm spinning it a little bit here. But if I were coming at it from a vegan perspective, I'd be asking myself, well, how is it that I'm responsible for the fact that other people eat meat?
You're not.
But they're just me pushed out. I mean, I'm the one who's involved. I'm a common denominator in everything that goes in my life, and these people are in my life.
Then don't have them in your life.
Boom.
Boy, that's a good conversation.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's really, the thing is that we try to make things complicated and give things importance levels that they don't need to have. So if I've got the only reason why Bob is in my life is because Bob is in my life. If I choose to not have Bob in my life, then it's no longer a part of my experience. Voila, magic is done. But what people will do is, I can't believe that Bob eats vegetables. He should be carnivore like me. Oh my goodness, can you believe that? And now all of my energy is tied up in resisting and firing all of this thought energy
Mm-hmm.
Bob, and that's energy that's no longer available for me to create what I want, versus me just taking that back, exercising my ability to create very simply by making friends with Mary, who happens to enjoy the same carnivore diet as me. And we can talk about all things carnivore and everything's lovely. And that's done. Now, the true winners at life, and these are the ones that enjoy and can sit with the contrast, can observe that because we're in a universe of polarity, there'll be people who want to eat vegetables and people who want to eat meat. And we can both coexist perfectly well. And in fact, the duality and the contrast between them represents the naturally occurring polarity within myself. It just happens to be an expression of it, but not something that I need to attribute an excess amount of importance to.
And that's a key phrase, an excess amount of importance.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is.
Yeah. When I just allow everyone to be them and I be myself, then there's no energy wrapped up in it. It's not something that I need to change. When I'm looking at something that needs to be changed, I'm giving it importance levels that are actually detracting away from my ability to create what I want for me. My mind has caught me in a trap that's stopping me actually manifesting a life that I want because I'm obsessed with what the projections of me are experiencing, when really I can just turn away or just allow them to be who they are.
You can manifest a lot faster if you just mind your own business.
Boom!
That's why we missed Alex. She could take these long conversations and condense it down to one sentence, and it was done.
It is done.
I'm just speaking from personal experience. I've been minding my own business for a very long time.
Minding my business.
And life wasn't as good when I was minding everybody else's. I had too much
That's
stress.
true.
And, too many people to carry on your shoulders. It's too much work. And I'm like, nah, I'm just going to worry about me.
Yeah.
It's too much responsibility to follow. I mean, you're going to carry all those people. Now you got to actually be on top of all those things.
Well, that was the whole reason I didn't want to have kids. I was like, I don't want to be responsible for another human life. But then here I am worrying about everybody else's problems. You're doing the same thing. No.
Pretty much.
That makes no sense.
Pretty much.
It made no sense. I had no reason to be doing all that. So I was just like, no, I'm done. I'm over it. I think I felt important because people were coming to me for advice. And I think that's
the ego trap.
It was an ego trap. And then I realized it doesn't matter. You're still important. People will still call you even though they're not in trouble. Yeah.
It's been, even in the journey of my work, like, because people pay me to come and ask me to tell them about their life. So, okay. So holding that line between holding the space for them, but not getting so wrapped up in it that it becomes smart stuff has been interesting.
Mm.
Well, that's something that anybody who's a life coach or a therapist or whatever has to learn to do pretty quickly early on, is to create a really strong boundary between when they're helping somebody else and their own lives. Because if they don't, it'll eat you up.
Yep.
And there are some people that actually get off on the ego trap of, yes, I'm the wise healer.
Yeah, that was me.
I'm just my star seed.
Everyone comes to me. You need advice? This girl.
My star seed ancestry perfectly positioned me to be a healer. Have you met my people from the planet Farquad?
No.
We're often the oddities. We stand out in society because we're special.
Oh, it's the special people again.
Oh no.
Like, bro, everyone's a star seed. Like, the star seed stuff is making me laugh so. The crazy thing is, whether you want to look at a Blu-ray, well, I'm from Pleiades originally, or wherever they're from. If you look at the descriptions, it's like someone did a random word generator. Do you feel left out? Do you feel like you don't fit in? Blah 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 from blah 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 planet. Well, we're natural healers and we're open to planet Earth. Is there one type of quality for people on planet Earth? No. There are lots of people. There are special people, there are nice people, there are twats, and there are beloved people. Okay, so the likelihood that an entire race of people all are one quality, an entire race of beings, one quality. Let's just think about that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it kind of falls apart quickly, actually.
Let's not even say an entire race of people, an entire continent. The likelihood, I mean, look at this.
How about an entire block? I mean, you don't have to go very far.
Look at our star program, the human star program. Let's say, for example, Apollo people knocked up on some guys that, you know, have been living on the moon or whatever. Oh my God, you guys are Earthlings? Yeah, I'm from Earth, you know. And they just had this idea that all Earthlings were 30-something or 40-something-year-old white guys. Let's just sit with that for a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when people are, yes, you know, they all look like this and they've got this and they look like that and they talk, and this is, and they're here to help us. Let's just wheel it in. Just dial it back for a second. Yes, I want to connect with the beings from other planets. Dude, contrast exists in the entirety of the universe. They're going to be nice ones. They're going to be not so nice ones. They're going to be ones that want to help and those that want to eat you. It's just the way it goes. But this whole thing of like everyone from another planet automatically makes them a divine angel of healing light. It just doesn't stand up to the test of examination. It just doesn't.
I agree. You're right. It doesn't.
But it's scientifically proven.
Did
now
you
I'm
read,
turned off.
Did you is that a Walt Wunny?
Oh no.
I just like I don't just because you don't want to accept that you are actually human, even if you are starseed. You're in a human body now, mate. Let's just get on with it. Using your ancestry as an excuse for not actually stepping up and doing something with your life now, I just find.
Oh my God, that's how I feel about the horoscope people. I'm an asshole because I'm a Leo. What? What?
Well, you know, I am a Scorpio. No, you're a slut. Look, just stop it. just stop it. Just stop it.
Facts.
Just stop it. I had an ex. We went on a break. And she's like, I can't believe that I, as a Scorpio woman, stayed loyal to you on this break. Do you know how hard it was for me to keep your legs closed, you nitty? Like, pull your pants up. Give yourself a cookie. Like, come on. Just stop it. Just
oh my God.
I'm not sure if I dare ask this, but Josie asked this a while ago in the chat. She says, Dan, no, she actually asked a few things, but this one seems closest to what we're talking about. She says, Dan, what are your thoughts on shamanism?
I think that people who aren't shamans and got their degree online should stop disrespecting the actual truth of shamanism.
I like that.
That's what I think. I think we need to look at the fact that shamanism as a role for the tribes that they represented, first and foremost. I think there's a disgusting expression of appropriation that's happened with the culture of shamanism. I've got friends of mine who have gone through the training of shamanism. You know, they've gone through it. And then there are people like, yeah, I'm a shaman. No, bro, you deal with plant medicine. Okay. There's not a ceremony. It's everyone getting round and running away from their life, drinking the bark of the tree from the blah, blah forest. All right. So shamanism, I have great respect because I think shamans, in terms of a role around the collective agreement of keeping the vibration of Earth together, have got a very powerful, important job to do. Their job within their tribes was very important also. And I think it's been appropriated and mixed up with this obsession with people running away from their life. And instead of actually creating their life, going to do plant medicine. Those are my thoughts on shamanism. And then I can dropped.
One thing I can always count on is a straight answer. I'm serious. I mean, you don't you don't go off. Well, you'll go off on tangents sometimes, but those are when you're interested in having some fun. When it comes to answering a question directly, bam, you hit it.
I mean, a friend of mine who I love her, love. She's a sister to me. But we're talking the other day, and she's like, "Yeah, the shaman path has been calling me. I'm going into shamanism." So I was like, "Oh, you know, what animal are you on? Like, which direction?" What do you mean? No, the plant called me, and the
plant called me. Okay.
I'm going to be learning. And I was like, okay, kudos for that. I was like, now, my friend Gustavo, who spent like years doing, the jaguar and the different go for the. My friend Kilu, who's not even from a shaman country, she's Estonian, but actually went in and did the training and learned from the actual genealogy and actually got the ancient knowledge. Like, no, the plant called me, so I'm going on and I'm going to be doing that. Now, I know my friend. My friend isn't trying to disrespect anyone. They had an experience and they want to carry that experience. But let's just use a different word.
Yeah.
Right.
That's me. Am I knocking people being called by a plant and going to do a certain work? No. But leave the word for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
This is shamanism. This is plant ceremony leadership. Make up your own word. Maybe check out with your family and Andromeda Farquaad for the right name. Maybe you'll channel it.
Andromeda Farquaad. Oh no.
But leave shamanism to be shamanism.
Yeah.
That actually fits in with something I was commenting to Cindy yesterday on the show, because it had come up in a social media conversation I'd had with somebody who was pushing the idea of unconditional love. And it was a phrase that I realized I had long had resistance to. I wasn't quite sure why, but it never resonated nicely with me. And then I finally realized in the context with him why it didn't resonate nicely. And it's because people who use the phrase unconditional love are trying to contrast it with another phrase, conditional love.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I reject it is that for me, conditional love isn't love at all. It has
Right.
nothing to do with love.
Right.
Mic drop. That's definitely a Walt Whitey. That's a Walt Whitey.
Yep. Big facts.
All ears, all eyes, all mind.
And by the same token, the word unconditional is superfluous. It's love.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to call it unconditional. It just is love.
Yeah,
Right.
and everything else just ain't so.
Yeah,
Facts. No need to say it twice.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I can appreciate where you're coming
Some
from.
things just don't call for qualification, because by qualification they infer that they don't really deserve a seat at the table anyway.
Mm.
Because otherwise we basically make it impossible to communicate. I mean, the whole purpose of words is to express a meaning. And if we can't even agree on what the meaning of the thing is, what are we talking about?
And this is where we all get in trouble.
All of us.
Every last one.
So I'm with you. I think shamanism should be used for actual shamanism.
Shamanism. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there are people who don't even know what it means to be a shaman, calling themselves
I
a shaman.
honestly don't. I mean, I know it has something to do with the animals and something. I know nothing about it.
I have a very, 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 very cursory understanding, because I have friends who've gone through the training.
Mm-hmm.
Before then, I might have been caught out with that too. But I suppose it comes down to, what are we saying? Are we speaking with some awareness, or are we speaking out of our butts? Like, what's really going on?
Exactly.
I heard a word, I went on the journey, and then, the Pleiadians gave me the download. So now I know everything, and so I'm here to guide you on your ascension.
Those poor Pleiadians, I mean, they get blamed for everything.
Well, they did create all things, if you listen to Matt Kahn. Isn't it Matt Kahn that said that they're responsible for creating humans?
Uh-huh.
That's another conversation.
For
I
another
think
day.
we'll stay away from that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stay away, stay away.
Not my podcast, not my problem.
Anybody got podcasts for that?
Oh my goodness. Yes. All right. Well, I think we've kind of, in our very humorous and offbeat way, we have actually laid out some of the ground here on how to deal with the primary that you laid out 2 weeks ago, Dan, that we are the common denominator to everything in our lives. One thing that we haven't really touched on perhaps as much, and I'll bring that in as sort of the last piece of the show today, is people who recognize that they are the common denominator. On some level, perhaps they realize that they're having trouble with the idea, but they're willing to admit, yeah, okay, that's me, but I can't seem to get myself to really buy into it completely. I keep finding ways to
Don't
trip
try.
myself up.
Don't try, because you're wasting your energy doing something that the mind isn't ready to accept yet. We're limited to what the mind believes.
So what do I do if I'm that person?
Well, then you go from where you are there. What you have accepted responsibility for is enough to start creating some change. And as you start creating that change and creating new patterns of belief for yourself, then you can open up to accepting more responsibility. going through life with playful curiosity against the backdrop of what I've accepted, and now I'm actually witnessing growth and expansion from, opens me up to see more. Oh, okay, maybe I'll experiment with that, and I'll experiment with that, and I'll experiment with that. Doing so, owning the results of that experiment, because we're micro-shifting, baby stepping into accepting more responsibility.
And that's beautiful, because what you're describing there is really the process that anyone I know who have been on the path and stuck to the path of learning how this stuff works, learning how to apply it in their own lives, that's exactly what they do. Mm-hmm. That's certainly what I've been doing since I first learned about this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad to hear you say it, because I didn't think there was any other way to do it. But apparently other people have tried to come up with ways. I still go back to that. That seems to be the best way to do it. What you just said, that you accept that you have this much responsibility. I can go with that. What can I work with it? How can I play with it? What can I create with it? I learned something new. Oh, how do I add that in? Okay. I'll ask somebody about it. How do I add that in? Oh, I added it in that way. Okay. Well, I could do that. Let's try that. Well, it didn't work out the way I expected it to. I got a different result. What is that result? It's just this ongoing process.
And that's the journey down the rabbit hole. And nobody's pushing you off the ladder. You can take a step, and you can take a break. You can stay there. Maybe that's where you want to stay. And the really cool thing about the universe is nobody forces you to do it any way that you don't want to do it.
Yes.
You have choice. If you want to stay at this level, it's like, even like I said, I don't have my energy caught up in telling people to do things differently. If that's what you want to do, rock on. You're welcome. Mm-hmm. If you want to be a victim, it's not my job to stop you being a victim. Here's another way. If you reject it, okay, I'm not going to force it on you, because it's not my job to do that. Otherwise, my energy is getting caught up in losing battles. Right.
Well, it's not just losing battles. You're getting caught up in stuff that never gets unwound.
It's just like
people just get all wound up in it, and you're just getting wound up in their stuff. So it's like, okay, well, let's just get all tied up and tangled up here.
But it's just like
you gotta mind your business.
When the Northmen had the Lannister army tied up, and then able to split their forces, and win the victory of the Whispering Woods. What it was, I can't remember, but they were able to win that battle because they split. So sometimes the unconscious mind gets the result that it wants because it has us split up. Our forces are split up, dealing with all these nonsensical battles that there was no victory there. There was no victory there. None. There's no victory available. The mind does not lose. The second that you accept that the mind doesn't lose and stop fighting it and instead work with it, your life will change. Your life will change. All the energy that you've got tied up in trying to force things to happen, when you call that back to center and then focus on maximizing the results that you're getting from the level of responsibility that you're prepared to accept, life changes without fail. Without fail.
That's a nice way of describing it too. And it's actually an under description, I think, describing it. How did you say it? The mind never loses, or the mind always...
Yeah, the mind never loses. The mind never loses. One of my Danisms is the mind doesn't lose and the environment doesn't lie. So your unconscious mind it's a Terminator. It's Terminator 1, like without the guy from the future. That's what it is. It's like all the initial Sarah Connors, that's unconscious mind doing it. We think that we're going to have any chance. You can't beat the unconscious mind. That's why I say you've never failed at anything. You've never failed because the unconscious mind never fails at executing any task it's been given. You've just given it junk code. The life that you're living is a perfect expression of exactly the code that was given to the unconscious mind. Perfect expression. So instead of you trying to go up against the Terminator with a water gun, sit down and change the source code and have it destroying those parts of your life that you don't want. Have it moving towards those targets that you do want. Instead of water gun, the Terminator, I will destroy it with my water gun. So it's not going to work. Just stop. Bring the energy back. Focus that attention on changing the source code. Do it one step at a time. Do it from the amount of responsibility that you're prepared to accept for the changing of that source code. Life will change for you.
Mm-hmm. And I think I'm going to actually flip the phrase around. Instead of the mind never loses, the mind always wins. I'm going to do it that way because
Yeah, I use the negative one because it's a bit edgy.
Yeah. It gets you.
But I
gets
like
you.
the other one just because it, for me, presents possibilities.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Because now all of a sudden, well, if my mind never loses, okay, well, I could see myself trying to find a way if it would lose. But if my mind always wins, that's more enticing for me. I mean, maybe that's not everybody, but that for me.
It is
No,
more
you're right.
enticing.
You're
It
right.
is more enticing. I use that one when I want to make people uncomfortable. I want you to be uncomfortable so that we wake you up.
Yeah.
Oh, my mind always wins. And the hills
No, that's
are
how you got to get them.
my
with the
mind
drama. That's what it is.
winning. What was that? Sorry, Alex?
I said you got to get them with the drama.
Yeah, get it with the drama. And then, okay, now we're ready to talk happy. Now we can eat.
Now we're ready to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're going to go down a rabbit hole, I like the idea of going down one where the mind always wins, because that's a rabbit hole that there's nothing to be afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be all good. What was that?
Yourself.
Yourself.
And that's it.
People listening to the podcast are going to say, what is he doing? He's actually doing this thing with his head while he's saying that.
That's why
you should watch on YouTube.
Aha. Okay. Well, there's a segue if I ever heard one. YouTube.
It's not a segue if you say it's a segue.
Sure it is. It works just fine.
Well, what do you think? Is that a segue? She said yes.
Okay. Well, then go with it, you know.
Yeah.
So if you want to listen on YouTube or watch on YouTube so you can actually see what Dan is doing with his head, what do you do, Alex?
Well, since I'm back, I guess I'll tell you. You go to YouTube, search LOA Today podcast videos, and once you see our smiling faces, click down below to the red subscribe button. Next to the red subscribe button, there's a little silver bell. Click that silver bell so you'll always be notified when we are live.
This message has been endorsed by Chloe.
You want to see Chloe? You gotta come on YouTube.
I mean, how can you not like that face? I mean, seriously.
I know, she's so cute. She's like, I'm done being cute on camera now, bye.
Bye.
And of course, since we have done that little segue, we also have to segue into, are you using the LOA Today app? If you have downloaded it, thank you very much. Continue to use it. If you haven't downloaded it, what are you waiting for? And for all of you, how many of you have shared lately? Because we know how important that sharing is, right? Got to have that sharing. Otherwise, you're not really using it, are you?
Share. Share the app. Share this episode. Share.
Love it. I can't add to that. That's perfect. We'll just leave it right there.
And boom.
All right. So in our final, we got about 5 minutes left, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
In our final 5 minutes, okay, we have finally gotten to the point where we are in growth mode. We are ready to grow. So what next? What's the next step?
Then we step into the only place where growth really happens. The only place that's real. The present moment.
Ooh.
And then what do we do with that present moment?
Then we make the choice to embody one small step, being one step closer to the expression of ourselves that's already experiencing the outcome that we desire to see in our life.
Okay, so I can see how that might flip the switch on somebody who's saying, huh? So let's go over that one a little bit more carefully.
So if we go to intention setting as I teach it, bear in mind, this is just my my stuff. You might have another model. And if you've got one that works, then do it. And if you've got one that doesn't work, stop doing it. So,
but I go to you because you're good at this. So that's why we're listening. So, you know.
So, the intention isn't to have something. It's to be. We think the intention is about having, but really it's about being. And I spoke about this on my Telegram channel, yesterday. We don't want the thing. We want the thing. We want to be the person that has the thing. We want the feelings and emotions associated with the thing. So a person doesn't want a Ferrari just for the sake of having a Ferrari. There's an emotional pull, an emotional signature that they're seeking from that experience, whether it's because they think they associate it with being loved or being wanted or having a level of importance. Someone wants a big house, then They don't want a big house for the big house. They want a big house because they want to inflate their ego or demonstrate or they want to have more friends over. They want to be surrounded by love, blah, 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 blah. There's a reason why you want it. And that reason can be associated with a set of emotional states. And that emotional state represents the GPS coordinates for the point in infinite possibility where your outcome exists. But the choice to step into that emotional signature can only be made in a real place. Hence, when my energy is tied up in the past or tied up in the future with things that haven't happened or that used to happen, or my viewpoint of things that had to happen, or it's tied up in other people's lives, I'm not present enough in the now to direct my choice to feel those emotions and therefore direct me to it. Law of attraction kicks in, the things come that resonate with that emotional state. Did I do it in 5 minutes?
I think you actually did it. You did it under budget, really.
Oh yeah, but it's down to choice, and that's beyond intention is all about making the choice about how we feel, what we're thinking, and what we're doing, so that we align with the outcome that we want. But I can't make those choices in the future because the future doesn't exist. My energy is tied up in the future. It's not available for me to use here. If I'm caught up in the past, or if I'm caught up in other people's stuff, or I'm caught up in what other people are eating, the energy is just not available for me to make the choice here and now. And it's in those choices, in the now, that the seeds are being planted that will lead to the fruit that we will be reaping at some point. Right now, we are embodying the fruit of the seeds that we planted before. We're living the echo of the choices that we've made. So let's pause and make choices that consciously correlate to the outcomes that we want, instead of wistfully wandering along, waiting for the Andromedans to give us the next download and where we're supposed to go next.
Well, that's an interesting point, though, because very often, if I'm making a choice, I'm not really sure how it's going to correlate. I'm hoping it will. It often feels like it will, but I don't know. Often I don't know. But that's what intention is. But that's what intention is. Intention is setting a choice that directly correlates to the outcome that I want. And if you want a bit more on that, head to dreamydan.com/free-resources and get my intention setting cheat sheet, and it will step you through how to do that. Ooh.
Oh, see, that's how you do a segue right there.
That's a segue with a close to the pitch. That's really, really good.
Yep. All while bringing the entire show back together.
See, this is why Dan gets the big bucks.
Yeah, the biggest ones. The small bucks I give to the kids. More malleable,
Jeez.
Is that
there are actually reasons not to have the video now that I think about it.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
Well, fortunately, we've already ruled out the idea that this is going to be the actual sequel to the first episode. But
really,
because otherwise we'd be in real trouble.
I was hoping for this to be my
debut.
My sophomore. Is it sophomore? Sophomore's the middle year?
Yeah.
Yeah, my sophomore.
Well, okay. I have nothing to add.
No?
Dan's setting the intention, and Walt is just level 100. He's like, no.
Yeah. It's okay with me. Have fun.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness. I knew I missed something on Thursdays. Now I know what it was. It's the most wonderful craziness on the entire planet. I love it.
Facts.
Yeah. I have more fun on Thursdays than anything else. And I enjoy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and weekends, but Thursdays, very special.
Very special.
Yeah. So before we tune out for the day, first of all, you mentioned the address on your website for people who want more information. Is there anything going on, Dan, that people might want to know about? Any events coming up?
All my events I've got are sold out right through to next year.
So you're popular. You're a popular guy.
Nice.
Nothing's available. I may have to open up more VIP days. I was only doing one a month. I might have to do more of those. There are only 8 people allowed to come to them. But the Telegram channel, I'm having fun with that. I do like a little, either a 1 or 2 minute audio. I did a little video yesterday, a little reality creation hack every day, a live creation hack every single day. So that's
okay. Really that's cool. Yeah, very good.
We haven't got a redirect for it yet, but we will get one. So Maybe I'll send you the link if people want to sort of join the Telegram.
Yeah,
channel.
sure. Yeah,
So,
we'll include it.
It's not, you're not bombarded. I do like one little thing every day, like a share.
Mhm.
Like I did I found a cool YouTube clip of TD Jakes giving a really cool thing the other day. I shared that. And I said yesterday I gave a really cool thing. Today I'm going to do a little tip about importance levels. But yeah, just a little hack at some point in the day. And that's been really fun.
Okay. And Alex, now that you're up and about and living life again, which is wonderful,
Yeah.
by the way, I'm so glad for that.
Very
Me
happy.
too. Because hockey is fun.
I
And
mean,
what Aussie?
we actually should probably do a show sometime just so you can teach us what you learned from all the stuff you went through, because you went through a lot of contrast.
Bro. I could be a doctor at this point. Let's just
But
put
you
it that
did,
way.
but you did it with flair and gave us humor.
You did?
Yep, I did.
Yeah. But
That's
anything
all I
going
know how
on?
to do.
Anything going on in the TV group that people might want to know about?
Everything is starting back up. A lot of shows are taking their time with their new COVID schedules, but Fox has started their new shows. LA's Finest just came out. Filthy Rich just came out. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Masked Singer is back. I'm excited about that. That's about it from Fox. I think, oh, there's this new show. You don't want to do it though.
What's it called?
I Can See Your Voice.
It sounds like a rip-off of The Voice.
It kind of is, but it's like, it's twisted. So it's like people come on the show that may be able to sing or may not be able to sing, and they lip sync to a song. So
And you don't know which one it is.
Yeah.
Are you-
So the guest the judges have to judge whether this person can actually sing or not based on how they're lip syncing. It's a dumb show.
This
Yeah,
is
that's
the
a
21st
Walt
century
warning.
version of
Yeah,
To Tell the
that's
Truth.
What'd you say, Walt?
This is the 21st century version of the To Tell the Truth, a show from the 1950s where there were 3 contestants and the panelists had to guess which one was the real contestant. It's the same thing.
Oh, okay. Because I wasn't there in the 1950s.
It was just as boring then as it probably is now.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I saw the preview and I was like, oh, why would they do this? Why?
On another note, Alex, and this is one that Cobra Kai.
Oh, see, I wasn't a Karate Kid fan, so I didn't even do it.
It doesn't matter.
It
doesn't
doesn't?
matter because
Oh.
it explores some powerful ideas. And
Okay.
it ran the risk of being cheesy as fudge and actually was as fudgy as cheese.
Excuse me. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Gotta add that one to the list because I was a Karate Kid fan, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, you'll love it then, Walt, because it completely re-explores all of the characters.
Don't say he'll love it then, Walt, because you'll get disappointed every time.
Oh, for fudge. Nudge. Ludge.
Forgot who you're talking to.
It's a really interesting exploration of the characters and who was right and who was wrong, who was good, who was bad. And I'm really reconsidering. And it tells the story of the Karate Kid as well.
From the other side.
From the other side.
Yeah, yeah.
That
And
does sound
suffice to
intriguing,
say,
actually.
Daniel LaRusso, I really dislike. And I wish that Johnny had beat him up completely. And that he hadn't
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that does sound promising because I like the idea of exploring programs, movies, and so forth that show that there are a lot of different ways of looking at something.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it definitely does that. It definitely does that. You are left wondering, was I lied to by Hollywood?
In the 1980s, what happened really?
Well,
Was I
that's a
lied to?
given
Because
all
I
the
feel lied
time.
to.
I mean, you're always lied to by Hollywood. That's the case. The question is,
What do you
which
mean?
story
TV
you're gonna
never
go
lies to me. Only the news does.
All right, on that note, I'm out. I'm out.
TV has never lied to me unless it was the news.
Next, you're going to say that I'm not a starseed from planet Farquaad, and I don't have time for that.
You are
time
whatever
time
you
to
believe
time
you
to
are.
put some Palo Santo and sage my energy.
You can stage whatever you want. You are whatever you believe
You can
are.
sage whatever you like. Right about.
I was just listening to that. Oh my God.
I think we've definitely come to the conclusion of the show. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you to our podcast listeners as well. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.